Why was his hug of Richard Nixon a big disappointment?
Sammy, as a black man in America at that time, black America's watching him. He's one of their heroes because he made it. And the Republican Party and Richard Nixon, they didn't have too many fans within the black community. So Nixon had reached, there's a story behind this too. Nixon had reached out to Sammy. They had met in the late 50s, and they had hit it off. But he had reached out through some of his people. And Sammy agreed to go to Vietnam for Nixon. Sammy agreed to become somewhat of an ambassador to the black community for Nixon. And then during the 1972 convention, on the last day, Sammy's on stage, and Nixon says something nice about him. And Sammy was standing behind him, and he just walked up to him, and for a second, put his arms around him. And every photographer, they were probably just, maybe someone tipped them off, who knows? They all got the shot. One in particular, it's a famous shot. It's actually in the book. And black America just, they were just angered. It was as if he was embracing everything that white America stood for, and repudiating the ideals and the fight of, let's say, Dr. Martin Luther King and everything, the whole civil rights situation from the 1960s. And it was a moment that, again, getting hate mail and calls and black leaders saying, "What are you doing?" That hurt him, and that hurt him deeply. He was basically, at that point in time, all he was doing was responding to someone he thought was a friend. He had been invited to the White House. He slept over at the White House at the invitation of Nixon on several occasions. And he thought he was just being friendly and just, a hug. Unfortunately, the ramifications were far beyond what he ever thought they would ever be.